All right, how is everybody? This is one of the best things I get a chance to do is do shows with Raider greats. And man, I'm so stoked. Before I get into that, I want to give great thanks. This came in my mail today from G. Mike Smar. I always wear any sort of club items that are sent to me from the Central Missouri Raider Nation, So folks living in Missouri actually have a place to go. I said that deliberately. Folks living in Missouri can go to the Central Missouri Raider Nation, and there's KC Raider Nation. There's a lot of Raider Nation to go out and see your family all the time. But without further ado, I'm stoked because I have Mr. Kenny King on the show. And I remember, and I know it I'm sure he loves it, but I'm sure it's more than just one touchdown. But Kenny King is known for the touchdown, which at the time was the longest pass play in Super Bowl history at the time. The longest pass play in Super Bowl history, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Plunkett looks to his left, kind of evades the rush, kind of shot puts the ball to Mr. Kenny King, and Kenny has a caravan with Bob Chandler, much like Marcus's run a couple years later, where his caravan was like Cliff Branch. He didn't push anybody though. I could have seen a flag. I said, "Oh my God, don't do that." But no matter. We are joined by Mr. Kenny King, and I'm going to bring him on stage now, and I'm going to move myself over here so that you get the full view. I ain't worried about comments over my face because I'm ugly, but that is a great looking Raider right there, Kenny King. Thank you for being here, sir. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. And it's like I said, this is one of the best things that I get a chance to do is do shows with Raider greats. And I enjoy it. And Eddie, when you get with your fellow alumni and say, if they ever want to talk to somebody that gives where it's from the heart and it's not like an appearance, this ain't those, big time appearances where, old Captain Jack got to fork out a lot of money. I'm sorry. I'm retired too, but I love talking with everybody, Raiders. And Mr. King, thank you for being here, sir. We got some great business to go to, and starting with you, sir. First off, how are you doing? And thank you for being here.
I'm doing well, Cap. I'm doing well. Life is good. I just turned 69 on Saturday, and my wife is already talking about 70. And I said, hey, let's just try to do 69 first, and then we'll worry about 70 when it gets here, if it gets here.
Right. No, I agree with you, sir. I got 61 coming at me in about 2 weeks. So
okay.
I said, hey, and I'm the same thing with you. Let me celebrate each milestone. I want to get to the Roger Maris mark. I want to get to 61. Okay. Then we'll get to 62 and beyond. But let me get to the Roger Maris mark. And my goal, even with all my failing health, my goal is to get to a more crooked number. But we'll let each day go as we go. But hey, happy birthday, turning 69. That's my old football number. So I have a passion for 69. Don't even folks that know me know where I'm going with that. But no, that was my football number in high school. So I love 69.
short story here. I remember when Cliff Branch was turning 69, and he made sure that everybody understood what 69 was for. And I don't think a lot of people don't know 69 is a staple in life, and it's also a position that you can be in at some time. And I'll leave it at that.
I was going to say, I am not touching that, because people know me. People know me. They're like, Jack, you're not. I'm like, no. I'm going to try to be, not with that one, maybe with something else, but I am not going to do, because they expect me. I'm like, it's like low hanging fruit, but no, I'm not.
It's low hanging fruit.
Low, none of the low. But Kenny, I got to ask, because everybody does ask you, is there anything other than, because first off, you're in the Texas High School Hall of Fame because of when you get into a high school Hall of Fame in the state of Texas, which is a football powerhouse, to be there is something to be very proud of. But then you also go to Oklahoma, and I'm going to talk to you about, you're from Texas and you go to Oklahoma. And I'm sure you probably had a ration from your friends there as well, but between the UT and the OU, button heads. But you played for Barry Switzer, and Barry Switzer, the legend, and you got a chance to play with Barry Switzer, and was in the same backfield as Heisman Trophy winner Billy Sims. But don't stop there. You get drafted by the Oilers, you come to the Raiders, you get 2 Super Bowls, and then you said, this is cool, but I'm going to go play in Canada for a year. And you end your career in Canada. So that is a lot on the table. So that's fantastic. We will definitely get into that, but there's a reason why you are here on my show, other than you like me. It is that we are going to talk about the Raiders Legends Cruise, which is coming up May 15th through 18th in Long Beach, and you are a big part of that. Can you give us a little bit on that right now, because Anita will kill me if I don't get a chance to get that out first and foremost.
Yeah, we have the annual Raider Legends Cruise that's coming up on May 15th through the 18th. We're leaving out of Long Beach and going down to Ensenada. I think our first stop is in Catalina, and then we go on over to Ensenada. But, this cruise, we've been doing this. The Barneses have been putting this together for I think 11 years. I think this is year 11. And it's to raise money. It's raise money for charities. Every year is a different charity. Not quite sure. I don't do my homework. I've been out in the yard working all day. But anyways, it's for charity. And this, we got 10 former players right now. I had Lionel Washington call me the other day and said that, I asked him, I said, are you going to make it this year? And he said he's going to try to make it. So that if he gets on, that'll be 11 former players. And the beauty of this trip is, and the beauty of it is as well, is you get an opportunity to sit around with some legends, guys that have won not 1, not 2, but 3 Super Bowls. So I think it's it's a great opportunity just to hang out on the cruise, on the boat, especially in Ensenada, drink some tequila. See how the Raiders, and we're old, but you know what? We still partied like the 1975. So it's not like it's going to be a fuddy-duddy cruise. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of characters and a lot of humor.
Well, see, then I don't have to worry about being the showman, because I'm just going to let you guys do that. I'm going to sit back and. Yeah, I'm just, other than wearing my hat, I'll wear my hat and I'll have my fun. But I will attest to, I'll give you, I'll be your MC, and now here is Kenny King and all that. And I'll do all that for everybody if I'm allowed to. And I'll be more than happy to do that.
But I tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun. We've been doing, like I said, we've been doing this for 11 years. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of same customers coming each year, a lot of fans, Raider fans coming from Central Valley. They're coming from, Sacramento. From all over the states, just to make this 3-4 day, I think it's a 3-day trip. And this year, it's been the last year we went, it was a little bit chilly because it was in March. It was doing Jeff's birthday and my birthday, the 1st of March. So it was a little chilly. This time we're going to be at sea where it's going to be warm. And if you like smoking cigars and hanging out and just having some conversation, it's a great place to sit out there and find the smoking section. So we can sit up there and smoke cigars and have some cocktails and you can hear a lot of lies. You can decipher what's a lie, what's not a lie. You can pretty much look at me or Frank, and we'll just kind of like tell you, that's a lie. But it'll be a lot of that. It'll be a lot of that going on.
Awesome, and I definitely can't wait to do that. I need to make an announcement. If you're over here on Instagram, because every time I have Instagram on this feed, it gums up the feed. So I've going back to doing Instagram on my phone. So you see me in my belly. Okay. Come over to YouTube. You can see me and you can see Kenny King and you can see all the comments. You're going to have a better portion of the show. Thank you for being here on Instagram, but go over to YouTube. It's better for you. And I gave the breakdown. And again, our best to Anita and Jeff Barnes for doing the Legends Cruise each and every year. It's for charity. And there's no better way for you to go on a cruise. Cruises are fun. I will say this though, Kenny, and this is the God's honest truth. This will be the very first cruise I've been on without having Marines with me or having jets land on top of me. Wow. So yes. This is going to be my first time at sea where I'm not in uniform. And it's going to be very different for me. But I will say this, I'm going to be proud when I get to the gangplank and I cross the quarterdeck. I will cross the quarterdeck correctly. Okay. I will smartly salute the ensign. And then I will turn to the officer of the deck and I'll salute him and I'll say permission to come aboard, because that is how you get on a ship, not a boat.
That's how
everybody says on a boat. I'm going on the ship and we're going to do it right. And I can't wait to do that.
It's like my youngest son, he's 32. He just got out of the Navy and he's still up in Oak Harbor, Washington. He did 5.5 years with the Navy, and he was deployed during the COVID. He was out there for a whole year, and so he doesn't like going on cruises with me because he says, Dad, I've been on ships, and I've been, he's a flight captain, so he's bringing the planes in and landing those planes, and then he's working like 8-10 hours. And then he's got to go try to sleep, and you're sleeping underneath that deck where the planes are landing and taking off. So he says, I don't think I'll ever be going on a cruise with you.
Well, tell your son that the old chief says, I said the same thing. I said, I never want to go on a cruise ever. I've been on too many deployments, and that's the thing. I've been on deployments. So I am ready to go on a cruise because there's no Marines, right? You don't have to worry about a long chow hall line with a bunch of guys. You can go to the weight room without having to fight to get on a weight machine, right? If you want to do that, you don't have to worry about any of that. And there are no aircraft landing on top of you because your son was in the A gang. So yeah, he was right underneath the flight deck because I know where their quarters were. So yeah, it's kind of hard to sleep there. I actually had the benefit of my work area was right underneath the flight deck in the Intel Center. So we heard the cats going at all the time. So we heard the cats, but I didn't have to worry about sleeping there because I was several decks down in the chief's mess, or even when I was not even a chief petty officer, I still was a couple decks down. So I didn't have to worry about the hubbub of what was going on the flight deck, either on an LHA or an LPH or a carrier. So I got some decent sleep. I did get some decent sleep. So tell your son after a couple years going on a cruise is nice. So you tell him, the old chief tells him he can do that.
I'll let him know.
Please do. So yeah, looking for that again. The Raiders Legends Cruise. Get with Anitha Barnes and Miss Erica Stevens. Erica Stevens, hopefully she will be on here pretty soon and she'll be able to come in and give all of that flight information. But again, Raiders Legends Cruise, it's out of Long Beach, May 15th through 18th, from Long Beach to Catalina to Ensenada and back. It's going to be a great time. So that's the stuff I have to do. That's the PSA because, and I enjoy doing that because that's not a PSA that, it's not lighthearted. It has to be done. Come and join both of us. And now you said now there's 10 Raiders Legends, maybe 11 with Lionel Washington. I can't wait. I can't wait. Again, I might have to do this every year, which means I can go cruising every year. I'll see if I can do that. The only bad thing is, Kenny, is I'm going from Florida to California for this. Okay, y'all come on over to the East Coast. Come to the East Coast.
I can see that, but you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's going to be about 400 or 500 crazy Raider fans, Raider Nation, and it's just we take over. I mean, we literally take over the ship. People are walking around going, is this a Raider cruise? Yeah, it's a Raider cruise. It's a Raider Legends.
Yes. So to get with me, remember Erica Stevens from Erica Stevens Travel, Jeff and Anitha Barnes. And if you can't get a hold of them, get a hold of me or get a hold of Kenny King, and we'll tell you all about it. So yeah, I know Ensenada is closer to Long Beach, Ed. I know my geography, but they have ports in Mexico for the East Coast. It's called Cozumel. I'm just saying. I'm going to go to Cozumel next time. And yes, Darren, it is the real Kenny King. So come on in and keep your questions. We're going to talk about some things. Keep your questions. And if I miss something, hit me up later saying, and say this, hey, Captain, hey, Schmuck. If you do that, it'll remind me that I have some questions for Kenny. And Kenny, you might be able to see any of these things. So remember that they're going to be asking you things. But hold your questions for a bit because we're going to go over Kenny's life. So Kenny's, This Is Your Life. I'm not Groucho. I don't know if you ever watched that show, This Is Your Life, with Karl Marx, it was like Karl Marx and then the other guys. But this is a secret way, I even before my time. But let's start with your football time over in Texas. How is it playing ball in the great state of Texas? Everybody talks about how Texas is a hotbed. It's either Texas or Florida gets all of the great players. So you're in Texas, you're a stud. Tell me about that and tell me about being recruited, because now this is in the 70s, being recruited, what that was like and I'm sure UT was after you, or am I mistaken?
No, I mean, they were all involved. I mean, UT, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Houston was one of the only uh, teams that didn't recruit me. But growing up in Texas, because Texas is known for its football. Friday night lights is what it's called. Friday night lights. Pretty much everything shuts down, and they go to the football game. I don't know if it's still that way because I haven't. I've only been back for about 15 years, and I really haven't spent any time watching a lot of high school football. But back in those days, I mean, it was a lot of hoopla about playing football. In my senior year, I was excited because I knew that I was going to get an opportunity to go play in college football because I've got all of these schools that are calling me, all these schools that are writing me, and but it came to I had to narrow it down. Texas A&M and Oklahoma was the two teams that was the number two teams, 1 and 2, as to where I'm going to go, and my choice when I went to, when I went to both universities and I went out partying, I was looking for specific things, and I found what I was looking for at Oklahoma, and that's the reason that I went there. And I tell you what, it pissed off a lot of people, and it really upset my dad because he wanted me to go to Texas A&M. A&M had made me an offer, which back then was not, it was a lot of offers were made, but they're behind, it's sealed documentation. It's kind of like what's going on now, but it's one of those things where I chose to go to University of Oklahoma because I wanted to see how good I was. And I knew if I went to Texas A&M, I was going to walk in as a starter. I mean, because Skip Thomas and Bubba Bean were, getting ready to leave, and I was going to come in right as a starter. But does that mean that I'm the best? Well, I'm the best at that time, but there's somebody else. You're always recruiting, you're bringing people in every year, freshman, sophomore, next year, you're a junior. Now it's another freshman or somebody else. So I chose Oklahoma because I wanted to know how good I was. Was I really that good? And when I got to the University of Oklahoma, I found out real fast how good you are and how good you can be. And you're only as good as you are if you're on the football field. And there was a lot of competition. Billy and I, we battled for the halfback position. Billy beat me out for the halfback position. So I ended up moving to fullback. And, I didn't really like it, but it was one of those things where it's team, and I don't think a lot of people understand that when you talk about an organization, you talk about team. And it's not about you as an individual. It's about you as a team. And I wanted to be a part of that because I knew that there was something magical about this organization. And, because Barry Switzer, what a great motivator. I mean, Barry Switzer, oh man, I tell you, he comes into people's lives and he stays in their lives. I mean, I'm 69 years old now. Barry's what, I want to say 88, almost 89. But you know what, Barry and I still have, we still have that rapport. We still talk. We still have conversation. And, he's, it was a time where I was very distraught about where I was at and what I was doing my senior year in college. And, Barry and I kind of had a falling out. And when that happened, I had to make some changes. I had to make some moves, but we got it corrected, and we was able to, rekindle that relationship and keep that relationship and keep it personal. I mean, keep it personal, not, and make it happen. And, I have a great admiration for him because I'll tell you, there's one story I'll share with you about Barry Switzer. It was my sophomore year. We were getting ready to play the Cal Bears, and they had Joe Roth. They had who was a wide receiver that went to the was it Jefferson? It was one of the receivers, and Chuck Muncie was there. Jeff Barnes was there, and they were picked to beat us, by 10 points, 10, 11 points. And because they're a passing offense. We're just old wishbone offense out here in Oklahoma. And Switzer did not let that determine the fact that they were that good offensively with a passing game, and we don't really run against, we don't play against the passing game. Well, anyways, he comes in as we're sitting there waiting for that talk before we go out on the field, and he doesn't say a word. He just walks in, that staunch look, and he said he wrote on the board, "We will rush for 500 yards." And we went out, we rushed for 500 yards, and we beat them to like 28-7. We shut down the passing game. There was no passing game. Joe Roth was not the golden arm quarterback that day. It was Oklahoma football. And from that point on, that's when I knew I was in a very unique organization. And I've seen it where players come to the University of Oklahoma. They're all Americans, but you know what? It's always somebody better. I got a chance to play in the backfield with Horace Ivory, Elvis Peacock, Billy Sims, Joe Washington, David Overstreet. I mean, these guys were all first rounders going into the National Football League. And I had the pleasure of being able to be their fullback. So wow. It was a lot of fun.
You're bringing back memories for me, like I said, with Joe Washington, with the, before he was wearing the big old glasses, or was he like, because that's what to me,
and the silver shoes.
Yes. Yeah. The big glasses, the shoes, Elvis Peacock. I always loved the name because he strutted just like the name, and he can move, and obviously Billy Sims, the Heisman Trophy winner, but you were a part of that. And that is a dynamic team that you can say, I was there, I did this. And I know that there's not a lot of I in team, but they probably couldn't do what they did unless there was somebody like Kenny King that was doing grunt work other than the offensive line, okay, making those holes open for them, blocking for them, and doing all of the other things that you do as a fullback and tandem running back with all of these guys. So tell me, what were your major accomplishments there? I mean, other than hanging out, I'm sure that you had some big plays and big times that you remember. It wasn't all about Billy and Elvis and Joe Washington. Tell me some Kenny King stuff.
I had some good games. Colorado, I love playing against Colorado. CU, they ran a 5-2 defense, and it was just the way, the way we read the offense is, that tackle. If the tackle steps out, then you hand off to the fullback up the middle. If the tackle steps down, Thomas pulls the ball, he goes to the corner. If the end steps out, then he turns upfield. If the end comes down, then he comes down to take him. He pitches to the halfback. I had a run. We were playing Colorado my senior year, and I took the ball 79 yards up the middle, split the secondary, 79 yards for a touchdown. You're talking about, I think Otis McKinney was there. I think Otis was still there. And Colorado's always had great defensive backs and with a lot of speed. And one of the things that Al Davis said to me when I first met him, he said, "I saw you play against Colorado." And he says, "I saw you split that secondary." And he says, "I knew I had to have you as a Raider."
You're making this easy for me because I was going to get there, but we're going to go back to that because obviously that is when everybody asks, talk to me about the team, talk to me about Al Davis, but that's feather in your cap one of your introduction to the great Raider patriarch Al Davis. So you graduate from Oklahoma, and you're going. Sir.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you leave Oklahoma. Wasn't that was a national championship team? Yes.
No.
Okay.
We were ranked number one from day one, from the start of the season until we got to the last game of the season. The last game of the season, we played Nebraska. That was always the last game of the season, and that was on the day after Thanksgiving. And we went into Nebraska, ranked number one. All we needed to do was, beat Nebraska, and then we're going to the Orange Bowl, play for the national championship. We dropped the ball 7 times. We fumbled the ball 7 times during that game. That's one or two more than what we normally do. We normally, we're going to drop, on the wishbone, you're going to probably drop, you're going to fumble at least 3 or 4 times a game. That's going to happen. It happens. But we had 7 fumbles that game, and they beat us. So with that being said, now it's kind of throwing up in the air what's going to happen. What is the Orange Bowl going to do? Because they were waiting for Oklahoma to come there and play for the national championship. Well, the Orange Bowl committee says, hey, let's do this. Let's have a rematch. Let's have a rematch with Oklahoma and Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. Since it's not for the national championship, let's just have a rematch, which is still going to be a huge draw.
Oh, yeah.
And let me just let me say this. We whooped that AWS.
No. You can, folks who know me, and by the way, we've had this conversation. You can let it rip here, Kenny. It's only me, you, and whoever pops in. Okay. I mean, we don't have to go as bad as I normally do, but you can.
Well, let me just say this. We whooped that ass, and we whooped that ass in the right way. I remember we were there was a guy named George Andrews. He was a all Big 8, and I think George might have made All-American as a linebacker, inside linebacker. And George was, he and I was battling all night long. And I told George, I said, George, if you keep tackling me, thinking I got the football, y'all for a long night, and this is going to be a long night for you guys because we came here to win. We did not come here to lose. We shouldn't have lost that game in Lincoln at the last after Thanksgiving, but we did. Now we're here. We come to redeem ourselves, and that's exactly what we did. We went there and we totally annihilated that team.
Well, I'm sure you let Dr. Tom, it wasn't a good day for Tom Osborne and the boys, I'm sure.
Oh, no. And you know what? My wife is from Lincoln. My wife is from Omaha, Nebraska. So guess what? When OU and Nebraska play now with, up to 26 years with her, yeah, she's starting to wear the real big red colors.
Okay, I'm sure I'm sure you don't talk to each other for like the 3 hours that you're in separate rooms. I'm sure when that game is on.
Oh no, we talk, but I'm doing the talking. She's listening because she knows they don't have a chance.
That's for sure. Well, a successful.
Hey, there she goes. She says she's watching.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That you have your, what is it? Your what do you call it? Your Jiminy Cricket. Hi, Mrs. King.
Bye, Mrs. King.
That'll be great. That'll be fantastic. I gotta ask. So you leave Oklahoma. So now you're ready for your pro career. What were you told when you left OU? I mean, it was you're stepping out into a brand new world. Obviously, you got to go with the agents and all the. I mean, I'm sure it was way different in the 70s. To step out into that world of what's going on. I know that the combine was non-existent back then. Tell me about your process of getting evaluated and stepping out into the world of the NFL wannabe, because you went to Houston first, but I want to talk about what did you do and how did you prepare before you even hit an NFL team, and what the things are that you had to go through that's different from today.
Well, the first thing I had to do is I had to find someone I could trust as an agent, someone who's going to, report, someone who's going to have my best interests at hand. And that's a tough thing to do, because there's a lot of agents out there at that time. They're telling you that you're going to be a first round draft pick, and we're going to get you this kind of money, and this is what we're going to do for you. And and they're like, do you need any cash? Well, you're still in college, so you don't really have a whole lot of money, and they're trying to push money in your pocket so that they get you, dependent upon them. So you owe, now you have debts to this guy or this organization that you hope will do the right thing for you. I was told I played in the Senior Bowl, and I played in the East-West Shrine Bowl, and I had an agent out of Beverly Hills, California, and so he was the guy that was representing me. I can't remember his name. I think he's passed on since then. But I was told I was going to be a first round draft pick. I was told in the Senior Bowl, the Jets organization, they were the coaches, and they were like, "Oh, we love you. We're going to draft you. We're going to take you. We're going to take you in the first." So, Jack, I'm sitting, when draft time comes, I'm all pumped up. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready for this, because it's like I didn't go to University of Oklahoma to go to the National Football League. I went to University of Oklahoma to play college football, and it just so happened that I was good enough to go to that next level. So I didn't get in my head that I'm going to be, one of these guys, although I'm seeing guys, go every year from the University of Oklahoma that's getting drafted. But when that time came, I was like, okay, let's see where we're at. And then when the draft officially came, it started. Well, of course, it started, I think, as like 7:00 Eastern time. So that was back when they had 12 rounds instead of 7 rounds now. So it was 12 rounds, and I was starting to get phone calls about and they didn't have that caller ID in 1979. You didn't have caller ID. So the phone's ringing, and I'm like, hello? And it's like, oh, have you been drafted yet? Have you been drafted? Stop calling. Whenever I get drafted, I'll let you know. So anyways, I sat there all morning long at my mom and dad's house. My dad came home early. He says, have you been drafted yet? I said, no. But he said, I got to get out of this house. I got to get out of the house, because I'm just really frustrated now, because now first round is gone. Second round is just starting. And so I left. I came back about 30 minutes later, and I'm sitting there, and the phone rang, and it was the Houston Oilers. And they said, I can't remember who the guy was. He says, but this is so-and-so and so. I'm with the Houston Oilers, and we just drafted you. And my first question was, what round? He says, third round. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that don't make sense, but what, it is what it is. I'm drafted, so I'm thankful, and I get that. So I go to Houston the next day. They fly me out to Houston, and I'm walking around the locker room, and I'm thinking, gosh, why am I here? And I start, looking at the roster, and it's like you got Earl Campbell, you got Tim Wilson, you got Rob Carpenter, and you got Ronnie Coleman. Okay, all veteran, and Earl ain't sharing that backfield with nobody. So right. I'm thinking, okay, well, I got to do what I got to do. I got to make the best of this situation. So I signed the contract, and I played, but you know what? I play special teams, and that was something new for me because I didn't have to play special teams in college. I was starting fullback. I wasn't a kickoff guy or kick returner, and they put me back kicking, on the kick return. I got the first week I cracked a rib on the left side. The second week I broke a rib on the right side. So now I've got this bubble thing, this styrofoam bubble that they made to put across my waistline so that I can continue to play. And I played like that. I played with those ribs up until it was like the 9th game of the season, right before Houston and Dallas played on Thanksgiving Day. They put me on injury reserve because they wanted to take this offensive lineman and put him on the active roster. Well, I've busted my butt on the special teams. I'm leading tackle, and everything and so forth. But anyways, long story short, I was just very frustrated at that time because I was like, why am I here? It's like, why did you guys do this? Why are you doing this to me? I bust my ass all season long, and then you're gonna put me on injured freaking reserve before we go into the playoffs. Guess what? I don't get playoff money. I didn't get playoff money. Yeah. They got playoff money. I didn't get playoff money, but I'm still going to practice. And it was like the last day. So now let's jump forward. Let's jump forward with that time in Houston. So the season is over. They go to Pittsburgh, and they got because that pass on Renfro, that was a catch.
Yep, I was just going to ask.
Everybody knows that was a catch, right?
79 game. Yeah, Oilers in Pittsburgh. That was the year. Yep, that was a catch.
That was a catch. Okay. So, anyways, we get beat. They come home, bums like we knocked on the door this year. We're gonna kick the son of a bitch down next year. Okay, fine. Well, I'm not feeling it. I have a friend, that's in the oil industry that's in Houston, and he and I were in conversation. He says, "Are you happy with where you're at?" And I said, "No." I said, I'm thinking about leaving football. He says, "Well, how much did you make last year? How much did you make this year?" I said, "Well, I got $35,000 base salary. I got $35,000 signing bonus. I got $0 on playoff money." I said, "So, what, $70,000 is what I made?" He says, "Well," he says, "Kenny," he said, I've had a great deal. I have admired you for all through college, because I saw you put up with the things that you did, what you had to go through at Oklahoma, because I know you weren't happy being a fullback, but you didn't say a word about it." He said, "But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see how it plays out for the through the off season, and if there's a trade made in the draft and so forth." He says, "But if you don't get what you're looking for, I will pay you $50,000 a year to come work for me in the oil industry and teach you the oil business." I said, "You know what? I appreciate that." Okay, so that was on the table.
Yeah,
it was the last day of the draft. It was the last day of the draft in April 1980, and my phone rang. And this is Bum Phillips now. Bum Phillips called me, who haven't said 10 words to me as a rookie there. Now he's calling me and telling me things happen in life, da da da. I'm like, Coach, what are you talking about? He says, exactly. You know, we just traded you. I said, where? He said, Oakland Raiders. Bam! I slammed down the phone. I'm running up and down the stairs. I played this song, "Ain't No Stopping Us Now" by McFadden and Whitehead.
I know that one.
My dog is chasing me up and down the stairs, and I'm crying and I'm laughing and I'm having a good time. I called my parents. I told them what was going on. 72 hours later, everything in my apartment was gone. I either sold it or gave it away or put it on the curb. I got in my car. I drove to California, and the history was made.
There you go. And it's like, ain't no stopping us now. On the move.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
We're all, hey,
yes.
We're going to go get some good music. You and I are going to be out grooving there as well. If I get off my wheelchair. There you go. If I'm off my chair,
you can do the chair thing.
Oh,
I do that chair thing.
Yeah. Well, I do that at the games. I'm in my chair, but I will get up for the right reasons and for the right ladies. I will get up. Now, when I need to sit down again, when the neuropathy hits, I will sit. But I will be up for a little bit, especially if the songs are good. So we'll keep that one in mind for the cruise. So and that's the great segue. You already said that Al Davis told you when I saw you split the backfield against CU. See, I pay attention there, Kenny.
Yeah.
When you split those DBs for Colorado, and Al Davis saw that, he said, "I need to have you on my team." So what was his impetus? Is like, what did the Raiders trade to the Oilers to get you?
The Raiders traded, and this I didn't even know. I mean, I wasn't even aware of what they had traded or what was going on. But so when I went over to the practice facility, there was a couple of offensive linemen was there, Carl Mock and this other guy was there, and they said, "Oh, you think you hot shit, huh? You just got traded to the Raiders and Jack Tatum and 2 7th-round draft picks." I didn't know that. Once I found out, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting ready to get paid," because you know what, Jack Tatum and 2 7th-round draft picks was traded to the Oilers for me, who was a 3rd-round pick this year and only played special teams. But Al saw something, and I'm glad he did, because it gave me that opportunity. And what I did is when I left Houston, I drove to California. I stayed at the Oakland Hyatt. I got there in 1st of May, and I stayed there until August, till it was time to go to.
Uh-oh. Oh, I hope we didn't lose. Okay. Oh, I thought I lost you, Kenny. It was a big freeze. So I go ahead, sir. I apologize.
It's not you. It's T-Mobile. I'm getting ready to get Starlink. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, when I got there, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I was still playing on the same contract, and Mr. Davis wasn't wanting to renegotiate the contract. So I was like, he says, let's wait and see how the season goes, and then we'll talk afterwards. And I was pretty determined, because I had that oil industry executive or employee. Well, he was going to put me in an executive in a position. So that was in the background, and nobody knew that. And that I think it was the 3rd preseason game of 1980, they put me at starting halfback, and Arthur Whittington became the 2nd team halfback. and I think Robisky was released, and that was the beginning, and that was the start of my career with the Raider organization. And I wasn't the greatest running back, but I was one who made impact. Everything that I did had impact on it, because like you said, Super Bowl 15 had the longest touchdown reception in Super Bowl history. Well, I was a fullback in college. They didn't throw the football at Oklahoma. We ran a wishbone. And so I had to learn how to catch. Well, guess who taught me how to catch? Bobby Chandler and Cliff Branch. They would stay after practice every day and work with me. They'd have me stand behind the goalpost, wrap my arms around the goalpost, and learn how to catch the ball with the fingers. Not with the hands, with the fingers. If I catch it with the hand, it was no good. If I catch it with the fingers, it was a good catch. So here I am now, Super Bowl 15, and I've got the longest touchdown in Super Bowl history. But you know what? Let's go back into the season. I think this is one of my greatest moments. Was we were playing San Diego in Oakland, my first year with the Raiders, and it was 15L. It was a pass to a run to the left. You can either bounce it in, bounce it out. Well, their linebackers like to crash down. They come crashing down. Well, when he came crashing down, I bounced outside. Boom! When I hit the sideline, it was nothing but pay dirt. And as I get about 45 yards up the field, Pete Shaw's coming, and I stiff arm him, put him down, and I went 89 yards, the longest touchdown run in Raider history. So I had the longest pass in Super Bowl history, and I had the longest run in Raider history that same year. So did my life change? Yes, it did. It really did. And I felt like at that point, Mr. Davis, I loved him for bringing me there. I have nothing but admiration for him and this organization, because what he does and what he believed in, and is so amazing. He's called me. Well, when we got to LA, phone rings and I'm sleeping, and
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. While we're waiting, this is Mr. Kenny King, Raiders Super Bowl great. Waiting for him to come back. If you're over there on Instagram, please come to YouTube. Please come to YouTube. Hopefully we'll get Kenny back. Yep. Yeah, I know, folks. So I'm waiting as well. I'm gonna you know what? I have to use my other phone. I should have my other phone here. We'll wait. Hey Diggs, good to see you. Diggs Garza, a Vikings fan. I'm gonna pop out of my Instagram here. I gotta call Kenny back. So stand by 1 second. 1 second. I'm gonna stop this. There we go. I got you, Kenny. Hey, I have faith. And I might have to look into Starlink myself, because everybody tells me that when I'm on my internet, that they can see the mice working and running around in the cages, because I have issues with mine. So don't worry about it as well. It's good to see you. So you were I think you were in the thoughts about you had the longest run of the Raiders history in 1980, and then you had the longest pass for the Raiders history, and then I think we dropped comp. So you were going to talk to Al. Al was going to be taking care of you, I'm thinking, after that.
Well, he did, and that's when I got the new contract. I was happy with where I was at and what I was doing, and I mean, and I was one of those guys that Mr. Davis had confidence and faith in and respect, and he would call me on occasion and ask me about certain players. He would ask me about this guy. What do you think about this guy? What do you think about this guy? And I remember one distinctly he's asked me about, and I said, I don't know. He says, you know what? He says, Kenny, he says, he's not the best player on the team, but he's good for the locker room. He says, does he make people laugh? Is he a character? Is he a jokester and don't cause problems? He says, he's good for the locker room. I was like, wow. So, yeah, were there some guys on that football team that didn't deserve to be there? Yeah, exactly, absolutely, because they weren't as good an athlete, but they brought they brought something to the locker room that made a difference.
Right, and that's important. I mean, because there are, and not to sidelight you as well, but or maybe you don't know, but I've experienced through talk, because I'm not in the Raiders locker room, but there's always conjecture about what the locker room can be and what it can't be, what the chemistry is when there's some bad juju. And so we as fans hear about it, but they never say anything because they don't want to talk about the cancer that's in the locker room. So having a great locker room with the camaraderie and that guy, that's very important. And obviously Mr. Davis knew about such things, and that's why he was the great owner that we all appreciate.
Yeah, it makes a heck of a difference, because you can tell, who's got bad locker rooms. And there's certain guys that they want all the attention, and that's not what the team is all about. And that's one thing about this organization. When I got to the Raiders in 1980, I'm sitting there with future Hall of Famers. I'm sitting there with Gene Upshaw, Art Shell, Dave Dalby, Dave Casper, Raymond Chester, Ray Guy, Mike Davis, all these great players. And you know what? It wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't a lot of egos. It was not a lot of egos. It was a team that played together and worked together. When we had a loss, we consoled each other. If we had a bad game, we could actually sit and talk about it and get through it together. Whereas now it's, social media takes that bad game and makes that person out to be just horrible. And sometimes they are horrible, because we had one that was horrible this last year. I won't say no names, but it is what it is.
I love that. Oh, by the way, in case you can find it, and I don't know where, somebody sent it to me. It's a Jets fan talking about his owner picking up Geno Smith. It's hilarious, with the accent. I won't go into the dialogue because it's typical. Plus, it's about my speed for language, but it's hilarious. So if you can find it, Jets fan talks about their owner picking up Geno Smith. It's worth the watch. So I'll just leave it at that. And the one thing that you said as well, and I had a chance to listen because I was with Lester when we were out in Lester Hayes. I apologize. Yeah, I hang out with Lester. When I was with Lester Hayes in El Paso and talking to him about such things, he said the same thing. It's like there's no I in team. The teams that you guys were on, everybody picked up each other. There wasn't a bunch of egos there. The camaraderie meshed well. And he discussed that in comparison to today's players. And it's all about I, me. He said, no, there's no team there. These guys don't know what a team is like. And he was correct, because it's such a dichotomy from the good old days, shall we say, but of the guys that are making tons and tons and tons of money. They get the elevated heads, and I'm surprised that they have helmets big enough to put those heads in, because of the money.
Well, there are these huge egos. I mean, there's some great football players today, and one thing like I said, you know, when I got to the Raiders, we didn't when a rookie came to that team. A rookie makes that 45-man roster, that rookie was accepted as a part of that team. When I was in Houston, veteran players didn't talk to me. They didn't have anything to do with me because I was just a rookie. I'm not a part of the team. I'm not, I'm an Oiler, but I'm not one of their guys. So, I'll tell you what, Jack, when we played Houston in the wild card game in 1980.
Oh, yeah.
Woo, baby. Let me tell you, I told the running back coach, because he came up to me. They were staying at the Oakland Hyatt. And he saw me at the Hyatt. I was there having a drink, and I walked out of the bar at that time. He says, "Hey, Kenny, you had a great season." I said, "Hey, you motherfucker, I could have had a great season if you'd have let me play in Houston." I said, 3 carries for 9 yards. That's it. I'm all pro, baby. I'm all pro.
And for those who do not remember, that was the Oilers of Ken Stabler, Jack Tatum, and Dave Casper that lost in the wild card round in Oakland. And I believe Lester had a pick 6. I believe.
Yes, he had a pick 6. I think Lester had 2 interceptions that night.
I was saying the pick 6. In fact, it's behind me. I don't know whether you can see it or not. It's right there. Let me see if you see that right next to the Gannon.
Right there. Yep, I got it. Yep.
That is the Lester pick 6, because you can see. I think it might be Casper behind him. But yeah,
Renfro.
Lester
was Renfro.
Oh, yep, Mike Renfro. Yep, the guy who did catch the ball in '79 gets the chance to watch Lester, get that ball for him. But no, that was it, and I'm sure that beating that team was like, I don't even talk to me about beating that team that day on your way to the Super Bowl.
For me to be in that game, I didn't score, but I had a huge pass reception on the against Robert Brazile, a Hall of Famer, who I always told in practice, you can't keep up with me. You can't keep up with me. And they call me Jaws. They said I did a lot of talking. Well, guess what? I got to prove what I can do in an actual game and not just a practice. So beating the Houston Oilers that day, that game, that time was huge for me, because it was like, you know what? I endured so much while I was there last year, and here I am now, and I'm going to the Pro Bowl. I am going onto the division game now, because we just kicked your ass, and now we're going to play Cleveland for the division game, and we're moving on and upward. So I was excited. It was elated, I was over elated, because I was just like, you know what? You couldn't write a script like that. I mean, I'm playing against a team that drafted me, but put me on injured reserve to make room for one of their veteran linemen who they wanted to get paid for the playoffs. So, you know what? I'm the two-time world champion, baby.
And that's your way of telling somebody that you have a very special middle finger for him.
I don't even waste that finger on him.
Yeah.
I haven't. You know what? And here's the thing. You know, it's like I love this Raider organization because you know what? Once a Raider, always a Raider. I've been coming back. I've been coming back to the Raiders and doing things with the Raiders since I retired in 1987. And you know, I've never been invited to an event in Houston. And even if I was invited, I wouldn't be recognized because I would be recognized for the fact of what I accomplished with the Raiders, not of what I accomplished with the Houston Oilers. So I wouldn't even go back. I wouldn't even waste my time. I'm 69 years old. You know, it's like, you know what? There's time to let bullshit go, and that's bullshit. So I moved on. I'm living my life how I want to and enjoying it the best way that I possibly can. And you know, it's like I said, you know, this organization is we deserve so much, and I pray that we are in the right hands right now. I do feel very confident about the coaches. I feel confident about some of the the picks that we made. You know, we talk about Maxx Crosby. You know, I'm gonna tell you right now, Maxx Crosby is a hell of a football player, and I don't have anything bad to say about Maxx Crosby. That decision was not personal; it was business. And now that got overturned the way it did, Maxx is back. I'm gonna tell you what, Maxx is gonna kick some ass. Maxx, if he stays, if it does another trade that it doesn't come up, and Maxx stays with this organization, Maxx is going to be a total terror. And I hope and I pray that we play the Ravens in the playoffs. So he get a chance.
Oh yeah. And for folks, because y'all don't know this, I was on the phone with Kenny when the story about the trade being nixed. That was when I had my show where I was adamantly, probably my most vehemently acerbic, i.e., I fucking cussed a lot. Okay, I'll cut the brass tacks on that. And I was talking with Kenny about setting up this show, and I went off because I was so mad at the Ravens. And yes, I'm a little mad at Maxx, but that's because he didn't, in my estimation, he didn't cut the Raider for life enough. I saw that last year at the CTE dinner, and I saw him this year at this year's CTE dinner, and it was 180 degrees different because I could tell that he knew he was gone. Yeah. And I understand that. I get it. You know, I'm sure that he was sick and tired of the what about the trade? What about the trade? Where are you going, Maxx? And that would piss me off too. But I think, and I agree with you, Kenny, and here's the two big ifs. If he stays, he's going to kick ass, take names, and he's going to have another all-pro season, provided he doesn't get injured. I got to say that.
Yeah.
But sure. The other thing is if he goes, it's only going to be something that he will always remember his time with the Raiders. And I really do believe that he will come back and sign a one-day contract if he doesn't come back a la Woodson and play another season back with the Raiders. I think that can happen because Charles Woodson did that, and other people do that. To come back, you want to play for the Shield.
This organization, right?
That's right. But so I'm to cut. So we're rolling along. You're the man, the longest touchdown in Super Bowl history, and then the Raiders draft the running back out of USC. After you've spent time with Billy Sims at OU. The Raiders draft the running back out of USC. I'm not sure. He's a pretty decent guy. He's got some hardware. So Marcus Allen comes to the team. I got to ask, because I'm sure it's like, oh, shit. I'm not even going to put words in your mouth, Kenny. Talk to me about playing in the backfield with Marcus Allen. And you could take a few minutes to collect your thoughts, because I see things coming, but I want to hear this.
It was when I heard when I heard that that Marcus had been drafted, I knew. I mean, the writing's on the wall. You're not going to pick a player of that caliber in the first round, and he's going to stand on the sideline and watch for a year or two. It's not like the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks usually, because Mark Wilson sat on the sideline for 4 or 5 years before he got the starting nod. Well, Marcus wasn't going to be that same situation, and now we're going to LA, into that market. So I knew that that was going to be what does that mean for me? Well, first thing I said, and I played fullback, and I know Van Egan was getting at the end of his career. So I met with Mr. Davis, and I told him that, if that's what you need me to do, then I'll do that. But I'll tell you what, looking back at it now, 30, 40 years from now, it took a toll on my body. I mean, I should have never ever made that decision to move to fullback. Even though I didn't play the full game, I played maybe 20, 30 plays out of the game, and Frank Hawkins would play the majority of the game, which was and I've always said Frank was a hell of a much better blocking fullback than I was. I wasn't that dominating factor that needed, that Marcus could have probably done even a whole lot better if he'd had Frank in there more. But it was a tough decision, and it was tough to deal with. There was an opportunity. There was a trade rumored that I was going to Pittsburgh. This was like 85, and we were in training camp, and I was running. I was running a route, pulled a hip flexor, killed the deal, and I was like, oh my God. And I look at, and then I go back, and now I go back, and then, even then I went back and I look at it, and I was like, had I not pulled that hip flexor, I could have gone to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is a team that I liked. I had a great deal of respect for. They love running the trap. They like that quick hitting the hole. And that was my forte. I was special at that. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen that way. So I finished out. I got moved back to halfback, and Frank became the starting fullback. So I was backing up Marcus at that time, and now I'm back on special teams. And that's not really how I wanted to go out, as for what I'd already done. But that's how it played out. Was I happy doing that time? No, I wasn't. I mean, but it's about team, and I put the team before my own personal feelings. So I never said anything. I never will, elaborate on it, because it's part of the past. And but was it hard? Yeah, it was tough. There was some days, and I didn't want to go to practice. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to be there. But you know what? That they were paying my salary, so I went to work.
And I would say, for folks who don't know, when you were in the backfield, you were productive as hell. And actually, Frank doing the stalwart job that he did as a fullback would open up some great holes for you too. And that was a combo that played. And again, now you can catch the ball, so you're more of an asset in that respect. So no, and again, nothing horrible about that. But again, yeah, Kenny, I love you, but I don't think I could have loved you being in those, orange, or sorry, that yellow and black, man. I mean, I know it would have been good for you because you would have been on those teams that you had some more Super Bowl run late in the 80s. But I love you, brother. I'm sorry it happened. Selfishly, I'm saying it selfishly, I'm glad that you got a chance to play fully for us.
I know that, and it's even now, now that I'm retired, I'm thankful that I got to play for the Raider organization. I mean, because I think it is by far the best organization in all of football. The Raider Nation is the best nation. I mean, it's the only nation. All these other wannabes, but I've enjoyed my life. I've enjoyed my career with the organization. I had an opportunity. I was living in Denver. I moved to Denver in the 90s, and that's when Shanahan took over as head coach.
Kenny, I'm sorry, I told you can't swear on my show.
Well, I got to tell you the story. But Shanahan was the head coach, and I was working for UPS at the time. And I was very unhappy with UPS. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to call Mike and see if he'll give me a job, working as a scout. And he called me, he called me and said, hey, come on over. Let's have a conversation. And I thought about it. And I thought about it, Jack, and I was like, if I do this, I will never be respected by Mr. Davis ever again. And I will never be a part of that organization the way I am now. Because I know that there was bad blood between those two. And it was just one of those things where, so I didn't go. I didn't go to the interview. I never contacted Mike again after that. I'm glad I didn't. Because, Mr. Davis has been good to me. Mark has been good to me. And this organization has been good to me. And I don't want to ever discredit anything or give them a reason that put a black eye on this organization. Because I worked my ass off. And now that I'm at that age now, you just went through some procedures, and I'm going through procedures, had hip surgery last year, looking at another one probably in the next 6-7 months, the right one. So I gave my life and my soul to the organization. So,
and again, and that's why I'm so moved that I get a chance to have you talk about Kenny King and the Raiders. Okay. And that's wonderful for me. And I appreciate you being here for all of that. And I didn't mean to, I was just saying that I would not be that guy unless I didn't tell you what happened, because you were on that team, you and Marcus and Frank. And, I can't remember. Arthur Whittington, I believe, was still there. Yes. No,
Whit was gone. Whit was gone. It was, we were the three leading, running backs at that. From the 80, we had Vance Mueller that came to us. We had another guy, Chester Willis, but no one else that really stood out.
Yeah, I think Arthur went to the hated Chiefs after that. Am I right?
No, Marcus went to the Chiefs.
I wasn't even touching that stink. I already know about that.
Arthur went when he left the Raiders. He went to the Oakland Invaders.
Ah, that's right, USFL. Okay.
USFL. Yep. He went to the Oakland Invaders.
And well, did you have any aspirations of playing for that other Oakland team?
What, the Invaders?
Yeah.
No. No, I was not. I mean, you know what? When I left the Raiders, I contacted every team in the National Football League trying to get an opportunity to get one more chance. I never got that chance. Then I got a call from the general manager with the Hamilton Ticats. He was a graduate assistant at Oklahoma when I was there. Now he was a general manager. So he brought me up to Hamilton. So I went to Hamilton. I was on the practice squad for a week, and then they moved me up to the active squad, and I played 2 games and I got turf toe. So, and then it was only about 5 games left. So I was on injured reserve for the remainder of that season. And so I pretty much had fun. I enjoyed Hamilton. I enjoyed Canada. I love Canada. Oh, Canada, yes. I'll go back. I would love to go back because I did have a lot of fun. It was a party. It was a lot of partying going on. But, you know, when I left and I got back, I got home. It was around Thanksgiving. Jack, I got off the plane. I was standing in the airport, and I was just looking around, and I said, you know what? This was 1988. I'm done. I knew I was done. There was no more. I had no more. I had nothing left in the tank. So I made the decision to say football is over. I'm done with it. I'm gone. And now it's time to go into corporate America and see what's out there.
Okay. I got, because I'm probably going to miss a lot of questions, but I'm going to ask what the ones that I always know. Any particular games that stand out to you, obviously, other than the Super Bowl? Any particular, and I'm sure you're talking about the team, you're talking about that locker room. Any in portions of wisdom, and obviously save some for the cruise, because I don't want to get all your good stuff here on the show. Because again, I'm going to say, folks, if you want to have a bunch more Kenny King and 9 other Raider greats, the Raider charity cruise, you got to be on it, okay? Leaving Long Beach, 15 to 18 May. Kenny's going to be there. I'm going to be there. I just got to get my flight out to California. That's the only thing I'm waiting on is my flight to California. But I'm going to be there. And like I told Kenny, I know how to get on board a vessel correctly. And I'll teach y'all how to do that. Or your son will. Like I said, maybe we'll have your I know your son that no. I ain't cruising for a while. Just have him contact me. And I'll talk to him about that as well. But any special stories, because you already talked about how your first conversation with Al Davis, because I always ask that, say, what was your first conversation with Al Davis? And now that's a killer, saying that I wanted you from that portion. Any sort of wonderful stories that you want to impart upon us? Because first off, I don't know how much time you got, but I definitely want to make sure that I'm not keeping you on too long.
No, I mean, there's nothing that really stands out, except for one. Mr. Davis' birthday is July the 4th.
Yes, sir.
And he has a birthday party. He would have a birthday party in Las Vegas.
Yep.
For his 75th birthday party, he invited, I don't know how many former players to Vegas to be a part of his birthday party. And so we're staying at the Bellagio, and that Sunday, I think it was Sunday, we were having we kind of had just kind of like a meet and greet. All the guys would go to this one ballroom and have drinks and have some brunch and stuff and talk and just have, talk football and stuff. And I got up and said a few things. I don't remember exactly what it was, but anyways, after it was over, after the event was over, he comes out. I'm standing in the hallway, and he comes up to me, and he says, "I hurt your career." And I looked at him. I said, "What?" He says, "I hurt your career." He says, "I should have never put you at fullback." He says, that was not the right decision. I said, Mr. Davis, it's over. You know, we got through it. He says, no, I just wanted you to know that I hurt your career. And I was like, wow. You know, because he didn't have to tell me that. He didn't have to say that to me. And it wasn't to other people, it was to me. So I was very, at that point, I just felt like this is family. And I will never do anything to break that trust. And I think I've done a very good job of making sure that that hasn't happened. So
awesome. And I'm going to get you out of here on two things. Okay. The first off is because actually I take it back, three things, because people have been asking about the Chicago game where everybody got hurt.
Oh, Jesus Christ. we got to go there in 1985. Yeah, well, we were playing Chicago. They had that crazy, I can't remember what the defense was, but it was something that nobody else had ever done, and they were very good at what they were doing. They had the right people in the right places. And we started that game with Plunkett. Plunkett got knocked out. Then Mark Wilson came in. Mark Wilson got dinged up. Then Dave Hum came in. Dave got dinged up. So I think Mark came back in just to finish the game. I mean,
yeah, because Ray was ready to go.
They wanted Ray. Ray was supposed to be going in, and Ray said, "There ain't no way I'm going out there playing quarterback. You got 1, 2, and 3 already knocked out, and I'm gonna go out there. I'm the punter." But yeah, they wanted to put Ray in there at quarterback, and Ray was like, "I ain't having this." No, that defense was magic, and I tell you, that was a year that they beat Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Oh goodness. I'll wait. Hopefully we'll get Kenny back. I know if we lost him, he will come back. I'm hoping anyway, because I want to make sure that we go out on a good thing. Hang on. Hang on, Kenny. I had you on speaker. I'm sorry you dropped again. But yeah, okay. I will let folks know. Folks, I'm gonna let folks. Kenny said his computer went completely kaput. It's done. I'm gonna do the old Howard Cosell. It's through. It's finished. It's washed up. Okay. So I did the Howard Cosell for you. I will say this to you since I got you on the phone. I want to thank you so very much for your time here, and it was wonderful. It's great spending an evening with you, and I'll have you on again any other time, because I wanted to finish up with this. Is that I want to make sure that if there's anything that you are doing that Kenny King is involved with, that you can let us know, and we'll come on for that at any other time. You say, hey, I want to talk about my endeavors locally, or what is Kenny King doing that is important to you, and I want to make sure that gets put out, sir, because I would be remiss if I didn't get a chance to do that. Well, you'll have to tell me about that because I got like I can't remember, it's like Spectrum or Verizon, and I have shitty self service as well, and I'll pay for it, So mhm. Right. No. Yeah. Okay. Well, and Jeff, I said, Jeff says, "Damn, I wanted to hear about the Bears game," but we'll pick that back up at any time that you want to come back and do some more stories, because we've done an hour and a half, which has been so very entertaining. And again, I hope I didn't put too much time constraints on you. All right. And thanks again there, Kenny King. Folks, I want to make sure that everybody knows I hear the applause in the chatter. Thank you to Mr. Kenny King, and we'll do this again. And thank you again, sir. All right. Take care, sir. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Okay. There you have it. On the phone with Kenny, and unfortunately his computer. I don't want to hear y'all talking about my computer anymore, though. But I've enjoyed it. We were here for an hour and a half talking about Kenny King and the Raiders and all that. And I definitely want to have him on again so that we get that last portion of what is important. Please be sure, remember, and Navman, thank you. I'll make sure that I get that. And so hopefully that if Kenny's still watching or has a chance to watch, again, sir, I salute you, and all the people here salute you and thank you for your time. And I appreciate that. If you are interested, like I said, the Raiders Legends cruise leaving on a Carnival ship in out of Long Beach, May 15th through 18th. Please get in touch with Miss Erica Stevens. Erica Stevens for the cruise. I'll be there. Kenny will be there. And he says there's at least 9 other guys, plus maybe Lionel Washington. You kind of let the cat out of the bag. I know that Jeff Barnes is going to be there. Frank Hawkins is going to be there. Jerry Robinson is going to be there. Kenny King is going to be there. Michael Dotterer is going to be there. That's 5 that I know off the top of my head. Maybe Lionel Washington. I don't know. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you're tuning in for the first time, thank you. Just hit the, hey, I'm on a bit, and so I enjoy doing these things. So please take care of yourself. I'm gonna end it now. I ended the Instagram because I needed to talk to Kenny. But come in and join me on the shows anytime. I enjoy it, and I again want to thank Kenny King immensely for his part tonight. Oh, okay. Jeff Thompson, yeah, you welcome anytime. And come in anytime. We talk Raiders, we talk sports, mostly Raiders, but I talk sports all year round. And see all these people here. Thank you there, Jeff, and Stoffel's been in here, Levi, and obviously Navman, a lot of my regulars, and I want to thank them as well. Catch me for my next show. I'm not sure when. I'm gonna was it in 2 weeks? I'm going to Vegas. Vegas, baby. I'm gonna celebrate my birthday. So I know I'm not going to be doing anything that weekend. But I will be doing it again. If you want to have any more sports and Raiders content, I'm gonna give him, go see Navman. Okay, check out Navman here on YouTube, and you will find his channel. Go look at Navman. So there's a plug for him. And yeah, And I didn't get a chance to talk to Kenny about what he thinks about we are kicking ass in free agency. And we signed Connor Hayward to fullback. Beast. So check it out. And we'll see if Maxx is still here. Oh, all right. Yeah. Navman says he's going to go live on Saturday for his birthday. Happy birthday, Navman, a little bit before me. And yeah, Matt Marinovich. Matt Marinovich is always in my comment. Well, okay, 99.9% he's always in my comment section. So I thank you, Matt. And then obviously Jimmy Furpo. It's not a real show until Marinovich is in here and Furpo's in here. So yeah, Navman's going to be 55, youngster. Oh, Jeff Thompson. Yes, sir. I have season tickets, sir. I come from Florida to Vegas, season tickets. So if you might have seen me, I'm that old pirate that gets on screen occasionally. So yes, I've been inside the new stadium. Come on out, Jeff, and thank you for being here. So again, good night, everybody. Again, thank you to Kenny King. Get on the Raiders Legends cruise. Miss Erica Stevens travel. Get with Anitha and Jeff Barnes for that information. Long Beach, May 15th to 18th. I'll be there. So take care, everybody. I'm going to do my outro. Catch us for further information and further shows. See ya. I'll be on another time. Probably Sunday, but definitely check back with me. Take care.